This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. I never thought I would embrace somebody saying this to me, but if they did, I would be proud if they came up to me and said, you know what, you are full of shift. And I would say, well, thank you for saying that. You're full of shift. You should be, because these shifts will create breakthroughs in our lives and move our lives forward. How do I know that? Learned it from the expert. That would be our next guest. He's the man behind Intentional Achievements, and we're going to outline 5 specific shifts that you should be making in your life. It's great to have all the tools to move your life forward, therapy and things like that, starting point, but you need to make a shift. Joe Price joins us on the program from Intentional Achievements. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great to be back with you, Steve.
I know you're full of shift.
Yeah.
You wrote the course.
Some people say that in a variety of different ways.
Sure. But this is actually such a wonderful thing to help move our lives forward. And as I've identified with you, there are 5 specific shifts that we need for breakthrough, to move life forward, to attain goals, to feel fulfilled, to feel that joy in life. Even before we go there, we talked last time we got together about specific tools that you can employ to move your life forward. Do you want to quickly recap there and then kind of get us into the shift?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about people being toolaholics,
Yes.
right? Looking for the next great idea
Yep.
or the next great app or something like that, thinking that that is going to be the silver bullet to make things work. Sometimes it does, but how many times do you find that it's temporary? How many
Yeah.
times do you, and there's an analogy I love to use here. Um, if your car breaks down, what do you have a tendency to look at, right? We have a tendency to look at what I call results first, battery, fuel,
Mhm.
tires working, right? All of the external things. But we don't think about, let's take a look at what's wrong with the engine, because the engine drives the car, right? And just like that analogy where the engine drives the car, our shifts drive our behaviors and our results. So instead of looking at tools and looking at ideas and looking at knowledge, because we know knowledge doesn't change performance, how about if we start thinking about our paradigms that we live our life by, our identity, and how we think about ourselves, our mindset, and how we deal with challenges. Because, for example, if we have a paradigm that says um, life is hard, how are we going to constantly approach life? If we change that paradigm, then everything else that we see about life shifts as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just the first one. So let's go through them one at a time. And I've got some visuals here for those who might be watching by video. But let's take a look at that first shift, which is the paradigm shift. And it is how we see the world, right? What is our approach to the world? And let me give you some ideas. Some people say life just happens to me. Or some people say success is for other people, not for me. Some people say failure is inevitable. Some people have a scarcity paradigm
Sure.
where everything is tough and and everything is short and I can't make ends meet. And some people have a paradigm where they blame external circumstances for what's happening in their life instead of themselves, right? Now, with that paradigm in mind, you could get the best app, you could read the best book, but if that is your view of life, none of that information is going to have a long-term effect.
Hmm. And looking at the intentional paradigms, what a difference. What a
Right?
difference. Yeah.
So if you go from life happens to me and change that paradigm and say, I create my reality, it doesn't matter what's happening externally because you're in control of that paradigm and your mind and how you look at the world, and everything else shifts. I'll give you a really kind of crazy idea about what a paradigm is. I had this experience years ago. I walked into a client's building ready to see them. They were on the third floor. I went to the receptionist, signed in. The receptionist said to me, the elevator is across the hall, and remember, the elevator is a manual elevator. I heard those words, said, okay. I walked over to the elevator and pushed the button and waited. Because what's my paradigm about elevators?
They're automatic. You press a button, door opens, you get in, you press another
Door
button.
opens, you get it, right? When it hits your floor, the doors automatically open. I must have waited there 3 or 4 minutes wondering why the door wasn't opening because I saw that the floor was my floor.
Let me make sure I
So,
have that right. You wanted to
okay,
go to the third floor?
yep. And
And
the elevator was on my floor. I pushed the button and the doors didn't open
so let's say you were
because
on
I
floor
had a
number one.
paradigm. My
Okay.
paradigm was the elevators automatically open.
Gotcha. Uh,
Okay.
okay.
I went and manually opened the door. The elevator was there,
Uh,
got in the elevator,
I've never
pushed the button,
encountered a
and
door
the
where
door
I
came
had to
up.
physically open the door.
Never happened to me before. But you understand how paradigm played a part. My
Completely.
paradigm, right? The paradigm that I had influenced my behavior.
Would another word for paradigm in this situation be programmed? We're kind of programmed to press the button, even if the elevator is on your floor. Doors open, you
Yeah,
get in.
right.
We're programmed for that.
Where's our programming come from? If I have programming that says life happens to me, or external circumstances are what I blame for what's happening to me, or I say success is for others and not for myself,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
That programming, that paradigm influences not only how I see the world, but how I behave in it.
This, I believe, is going to create an inner dialogue with all of us because I'm thinking of those things that I say, and I've kind of cleaned the vocabulary and thinking for a more positive paradigm shift. But one
Right?
thing, I'm going to throw this one to you, and I want your feedback.
Sure.
So even with cleaning all of that up, and like the first one, life happens to me. This isn't it, but you hear this one, life happens for me. It's kind of a cliche.
Yeah.
And then, with that, we create our reality. I'm starting to very much believe that what everything around us, we created it. This is it,
Absolutely correct.
you know?
Yep.
Um, I often say, I don't mean this in a negative way. Everything is work. Everything is work. Accept
Ah,
it. Now, and
okay.
what do I mean by that? Work is work, right? Hey, making plans for the weekend. We're gonna go to that fantastic holiday festival. bunch of friends are going. All right, well, I got to text everybody. What time are we showing up? Who's driving? Where are we going to go after that? Double checking to make sure everybody's on board. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of work involved in that. It's not just like, all right, show up, everybody.
Okay.
We're going to have a great time.
But let me bring you back to one of our earlier conversations.
Sure.
What's your definition of work? And what connotation, attitude wise, comes with the word work? For a lot of people, work is hard,
Mm, hmm.
right? So if you say life is work, what you're actually saying is life is hard.
Gotcha. Okay.
Life doesn't have to be hard. Life
Understood.
doesn't have to be work, right? Some people say you have to work at marriage in order to make it work, right? In order for it to work.
Yep.
Well, if you have that definition of work or that connotation of work, then what you're saying into your marriage is my marriage is hard and I have to work at it all the time. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yes. Yes. So that
Does
being
that make
said,
sense?
crystal clear. And when I look at how I frame work, work is more fun. Work, you do something, you work at something, and you achieve a wonderful goal.
There
So
you go.
we got, getting everybody together this weekend. A little bit of work there. Got to get them all together. But what's the end
Yeah,
result? We're gonna have a good time.
there you
Um,
go.
you work in your daily life, whatever your purpose is. I don't view it as drudgery. I view it as there's a wonderful benefit. Yes, you get compensated, but also you make a difference. So
Yeah.
I see it more
For
that way.
you, that could be true. My
Yes.
question is for everybody else, is that also true? So
Yes.
let me give you a change in language that may clarify it.
Mhm.
Instead of saying life happens to me, say life happens through me,
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And I
right?
was just repeating what many people often say.
Sure. But you see the difference now because if it
Oh,
happens through me, I'm in control,
yep. You're
which is
you're
a whole different paradigm shift.
you're processing it, you're filtering it, and that's even more personal and controlling than saying life happens for me. You
Yes,
really don't have any control. It's for your
absolutely,
benefit, but you don't really
absolutely
have
correct.
control. And even the work thing, there's breath work. If you look at spirituality, um, you have to work at it to employ proper breathing. But guess what? End result is you get a guy a nice little benefit. So yeah, I see where you're going with that. But I wanted to bring that up because I often wonder,
Yeah.
well, the words I'm using, is that bad? It's bad if you you view it that way.
Well, and the key is for us to go back to what I believe, which is our definitions dictate our actions,
Yes.
right? So, what is your definition for that word? What is the connotation that comes along with it? What's the feeling? What's the attitude? And if those feelings and attitude are negative, then you absolutely want to change that language.
Gotcha. So shift number one, paradigm.
You got it. Shift number two is a mindset shift. And the mindset shift is how do I deal with challenges when they come up?
Hmm.
Okay. Now, one mindset is that I have a fixed set of abilities and I can improve. It's the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is I am who I am. The growth mindset says I am adapting and becoming, right?
Yep.
um, the negative mindset of reacting to situations rather than responding intentionally to the situation.
Hmm.
Some people have a very short-term mindset. I believe Americans are subject to this. Everything is what's the next quarterly report going to tell us? It's all short term rather than long term, right? Is it a short term gain or a long term gain, right? What's my mindset about that? Am I looking further into the future about where am I going? And how am I going to change the mindset to say, This may be a short-term loss, but a long-term gain, and
Mm,
that's okay with me.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
Another mindset, I don't have time. How many of us use that one all the time instead of saying, I'm going to make the time for what's important to me and I'm going to reprioritize the things in my life?
I'd say all of us are guilty of that. Almost all of us. Yeah.
Right?
I don't have
But
time.
if you come back and say, look, I got this new tool, I got this new idea, I read this new book, I'm going to implement it, but you have some of these negative mindsets,
Yep.
it's going to stand in your way and it's not going to allow you to make the long-term intentional changes that you're looking to make.
Yep.
All right. The next one is the skill set change. And the skill set change says this: in my present life, I need these skills in order to succeed. In the life that I'm creating, in the life that I'm becoming, what skills do I actually need in that life in order to succeed? And sometimes we don't think ahead that much, right? And so we're stuck thinking in the new mindset, but stuck in the old skills.
Is it conceivable to think that where you want to go, call it your dream or what you want to create, is it conceivable to think that I have the skills? They're here. I just have to apply them in a certain way.
It depends whether you've developed those skills or whether it's just a knowledge thing that you have in your head that you think you know what to do,
Mhm.
right? But
Okay.
when it comes down to it, do you actually have the skills and have you practiced those skills in order to be the successful professional at that skill that you want to be?
I wish
I
we had
think a
five
lot of
hours to
a
do
lot of
this.
us kid ourselves that we have certain skills that we really don't have, right?
Skills versus talent.
Yeah,
How does
we've
that look
talked
to you?
about skills, talents, and gifts, right? We've talked about that before.
Hmm.
Skills are abilities that we develop through practice and making sure that we have a coach, for example. A lot of us think, oh, playing tennis is no big deal, right? I can get out there and whack the ball. But when you get out there, you start to see the difference between you and the professional that's on the other side of the net,
Yep.
right? And then you start to come face to face with the fact that what I think I can do is not necessarily what I actually can do.
Gotcha. Okay. Essentially, that's one of those moments where you need to be honest with yourself. Do you really
Yeah,
have it?
it really is true.
Hmm. So, just to recap, shift number three would be the skill set shift.
Is the skill set shift. So, for example, if you're working harder and things are still not happening,
Hmm.
maybe you need to back up and develop some planning skills.
Okay.
Okay. Um, if you are communicating but not getting your ideas across, maybe you need to develop some new communication skills.
Again,
If
what's
you,
coming up for me here is honesty. You need to really be honest with yourself.
yeah, it's true, right?
Hmm.
And it comes down to our identity shift, which is the fourth shift that we have to make, which is who am I, right? And we're
Hmm.
going to get there in a second. If we're reacting emotionally, for example, to certain situations, maybe we need to develop more emotional intelligence in order
Hmm.
not to react and respond and being intentional instead. If we're feeling overwhelmed with too much stuff on our plate, planning skills come into play, but maybe we need to restructure our life a little more and develop some structure skills, some time management skills, and maybe some priority and decision making skills.
Now, when you work, and I want to just make this very short to get to all of these before we're out of time. But when you work with somebody, Joe, after a little bit of time of them explaining goals and where they're at and all of that, are you usually able to identify what shifts need to take place, what skills might be missing, all of that?
Yeah, usually very quickly.
Okay.
And what's interesting is a lot of people focus on the symptoms of a problem rather than focusing on the problem itself. I don't have enough time. Symptom, right? Things are falling through the cracks. So, what am I focused on? Am I focused on my time management skills? Am I focused on my decision making skills? Am I focused on my priority skills? Am I focusing on the kind of life that I want and saying no to certain things that are causing me to be overwhelmed and behind, right? So we have to not focus on the symptoms of what we're experiencing, but focus on the cause of those symptoms, which are these shifts.
Gotcha. Okay.
All
So
right. Next shift is the identity shift. And the identity shift is, who do I think I am?
mm,
Okay. Am I not enough? I am who I've always been. I'm defined by my failures instead of I'm always growing. I define who I am, not my external circumstances, right? I am enough for me, but I'm always growing. And I write my own story. I write who I am, not others.
I'm just looking at that, going a little deeper into it. Interesting. Hmm.
Embrace personal experiences, both good and bad, as part of the greater journey.
I love the fact that you do the blend between the unintentional and the intentional,
Right?
um, because there's the contrast.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the key is our life is full of good and bad. But is that an extension of who I am, or is that just the way life is? And how many of us translate what happens to us to that must be who I am?
Which maybe get you into the victim mentality.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
And then all of our reactions come out of that mindset.
This one is very powerful.
It
It really
really is.
is.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, Intentional identity. I am always growing. So now infinite in terms of where you can go. I define who I am. Many of us don't really know who we are. I am enough as I am. And there's a powerful statement. I am enough.
Right.
Because many of us, ask any therapist, many of us, if not all of us, to some degree, in us, we feel that we're not enough. I own my own story. That's
Well, how many of us compare ourselves to a straw ideal person that we can never attain, right?
yeah.
And it's unrealistic and it kills our identity.
Well, in that, would you say that that's comparison?
Correct.
And this my one of my favorite phrases of 2025 that I learned: comparison steals joy.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Right. The only comparison that we should make is against who we were yesterday. And are we growing? The thing that I encourage all of my clients to think about every day is this: how can I be more intentional today than I was yesterday?
Hmm. It's really interesting when you think about that. If you and because that causes you to celebrate the wins.
Correct.
We don't do that. most
No,
times.
not at all.
Or
Even the smallest of wins,
100%.
right? Dale Carnegie in his book said, praise every slightest improvement because we grow on wins. Think about this for a second. You've heard this phrase. Um, we, oh my goodness, it was right there in my head. We learn from our mistakes,
Sure.
right? We've heard that phrase all the time. Do you know there's a second half to that phrase?
No.
None of us ever think about it. But here's the most important part, which is the second phrase. I grow from my successes. Now, which one do we want to be? A learner or a grower?
Yeah. And I believe that many of us are programmed to think negatively because that's what protects us from the beginning of evolution. You're always looking for the threat, right? What, the pterodactyl, the cave,
Yep.
way back. You're always looking for the negative. Well, I learned from my mistakes. Yes, there's a positive connotation there. What's the last thing you remember? The last thing you hear, which is the word mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
How about how does that go again? Successes. I
I
grow from
learn from my mistakes. I grow from my
my
successes.
successes. We're just about out of time. I want to share with everybody. I've started one of the modules, one of the courses
Great,
here.
please do.
Um, I want you to encapsulate what I just started, but I'm going to explain that in a moment. What I'm doing now is, how would you explain it to everybody?
You are taking the online program called The Five Fundamentals of Intentional Living.
I have to tell you, didn't know what to expect. I'm not a big person for online classes and I get bored. I feel like I'm alone. And after a while, I get bored. I'm going to look over to something else. I was fixated on the screen and looking forward to hitting the button that said continue in anticipation of what I'm going to learn next. It
Oh,
is
cool.
so clearly written, concise. There's not fluff in it. It gets to the point, and I'm at maybe a quarter in, if that. Literally just started it, but I
Yeah.
feel like I'm getting value from it, and I'm able to remember it. And again, like, oh wow, celebrate the wins. Like, oh, all right, did that one. Can't wait to go. Let's go to the next one. Looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to the next one.
That's
Um,
excellent.
yeah, very, very clear and easy to understand, and kind of breaks the mold of what I envision a lot of these online courses to be. Uh,
That's super.
feels good. Two words. Feels good.
Oh, I'm glad you're having that experience.
Yeah.
And it's a good bridge into if people want to take the program alongside you and get the same benefits. Go to the checkout page for that program and enter the coupon code GLOBAL, and they'll get a $100 discount on the program.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And where, if they went to your website, which is intentionalachievements.com,
Yep.
what do they click to get there? To start the starting point to get to
In
even
the
this
upper
program?
menu, they're going to go to programs and scroll down probably a third of the way down.
Gotcha. And they'd be looking for?
The five fundamentals for intentional living.
Gotcha.
We
Gotcha.
also have a free gift because of the work that we were doing on the shifts today. We have a 5 shifts worksheet that'll walk people through that. And that is, if they sign up for the free gift, they'll be able to get the book, Mastering the Four Foundations, and the 5 shifts worksheet for free.
Beautiful. Um, what you showed us today with the ships, I'm aware of a lot of that, but it took me years to figure that out.
Right?
And I got it in I don't know, 29 minutes right here. Not even kidding.
There you go.
Seriously. Most of that is took years to figure that out. Um, love what you do, intentionalachievements.com. Even any questions, you're available,
Absolutely right.
and that's part of the beauty there too. If anybody has, a thought, a question about how the program works, just reach out.
They can go to my about Meet the Founder page. On the bottom of the page is a a link to my WhatsApp, and they can just send me a question or a comment on my WhatsApp.
This is all developed after decades of work that you've done with thousands of people in all
Correct.
different capacities of coaching them and moving them forward. This isn't just, you know what, I got a side hustle. Let me come up with something I got over here. No,
Absolutely right.
intentional is the key word here. Everything was intentionally put together. Every word, every word. And that's why
Correct.
I enjoy it because, you know, I'm going to say, I don't have a lot of time. So I
Yeah,
want to get right to it.
that's excellent.
Thank you for everything, Joe. Really appreciate it. And looking forward next time we get a chance to talk.
Thank you, sir.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.